I was sitting in a mortgage broker's office on a Tuesday afternoon, trying to buy my first home. I was 29. I had saved everything. I had done everything right. And then the underwriter slid a document across the table and said very carefully, "Miss Bennett, we have a problem."
There was a $150,000 trust distribution on my tax record, a capital gains liability I had never paid, an account I didn't recognise in my name from 3 years earlier. My hands went cold, not because I was confused, not entirely, because somewhere in the part of me I had spent years trying to silence, I already knew.
Let me tell you who I was before all of this. I grew up in a normal house in a normal suburb outside of Columbus, Ohio. 3-bedroom ranch house. Decent school district. Mum worked in insurance. Dad was mostly absent. And I was the kid who drew on everything. Notebooks, margins of textbooks, the back of permission slips. My grandmother used to save me the blank sides of envelopes so I'd have more paper to work with. That's the kind of woman she was. Small gestures that said, "I see you." Her name was Helen, and she believed, from the time I was 7 years old, that I was going to be an artist. Not as a compliment, as a statement of fact. She never once said, "Maybe you should have a backup plan." She just kept giving me envelopes. I became a freelance illustrator. Children's books, editorial work, brand commissions. It was slow going. Student loans, irregular income, the whole beautiful mess of creative self-employment. But I was building something real. I could feel it. My mother, Margaret, had always been present, intensely present. She was the kind of mother who called herself your best friend and meant it as ownership. When I turned 18, she convinced me to keep our joint bank account open. "Just until you find your footing, baby. I'll help you manage it." I was 18. I trusted her. Completely. She was my mother. That account stayed open for years. I'd mostly stopped using it, but I never closed it. I never thought to. Some part of me still believed that needing her meant she loved me. My grandmother passed away in November of my 26th year. It was expected. She'd been ill for a while, but expected doesn't mean easy. It just means you watch it coming and can't stop it anyway. I cried for a week straight. I kept finding her handwriting in old birthday cards and just stopping, standing in the middle of my apartment, not able to move. My mother handled the estate. She was the executor. She told me she'd take care of everything, that I shouldn't worry, that the paperwork was complicated and she had it handled. I believed her. A few months later, she sat me down and said the words very gently, very sadly. "Sweetheart, after the medical bills and the end-of-life costs, there's nothing left. I'm so sorry." I remember nodding, feeling the particular grief of a door closing. But there was something small, something I pushed away at the time, a hesitation in her eyes just before she said it. Not grief, something faster, something that looked almost like calculation. I told myself I was imagining it. That small, dismissed thought lived in me for 3 years. Quiet, patient, waiting. The mortgage broker gave me 48 hours to explain the tax discrepancy. I spent the first night unable to sleep, staring at the ceiling, running through every possibility that wasn't the one I feared most. I called the bank the next morning. I requested the archival records on every account linked to my social security number. The documents arrived in my email 4 days later. I opened them at my kitchen table, coffee going cold beside me. There it was. A cleared check.
$150,000, drawn from a trust account in my name, Helen's trust, her estate, deposited into the old joint account. March 14th, 3 years ago, 1 month after my grandmother died. Then, a transfer, out of the joint account, 3 days later, every cent routed somewhere else. I kept scrolling. Then I found the legal release form, the signature authorising the distribution. My name. Except it wasn't my signature.
I've been drawing since I was 7 years old. I know every curve of my own handwriting. That signature was a clumsy, lopsided imitation. The kind of copy someone makes when they've practiced it once and assumed no one would ever look too closely. I sat very still for a long time. Then I opened my laptop and started writing down everything I knew. I hired a forensic accountant and an estate attorney within the week. I want to pause here and say I am not a confrontational person. I am, if I'm honest, someone who spent most of her life contorting herself into whatever shape would make everyone around her comfortable, especially my mother. But something had shifted in me, something quiet and absolute. This was my grandmother's money. This was Helen's gift to me.
The forensic accountant traced the full trail within 10 days. The $150,000 from the trust had been deposited into the joint account, the account Margaret still had access to. 3 days later, it was transferred to a private account in Margaret's name. From there, it was moved through 2 more accounts and ultimately used for a down payment on a vacation property in Florida, and the rest on luxury purchases Margaret had told me were modest life improvements.
The estate attorney confirmed the rest. My grandmother's will had explicitly named me as the sole beneficiary of a $150,000 trust. The distribution documents had been forged. Margaret had intercepted the legal correspondence, addressed to me, because she knew I never checked that old mailing address. She hadn't made a mistake. She had made a plan. I think about my grandmother leaving me that money, how she must have sat with her lawyer and thought carefully about what would make my life better. A house, security, room to breathe, the thing she always wanted to give me. And then I think about my mother, her own daughter, taking it. I can't make that make sense. I've stopped trying to.
And before I tell you how this ends, I need to stop here for just one moment. Because if you've come this far into my story, you're not just watching, you're feeling it, and I don't take that lightly. If this channel has ever made you feel less alone, if these stories have ever given you words for something you couldn't quite name, please hit that subscribe button right now. It costs you nothing, and it means I get to keep telling stories like this one.
Drop a comment below and tell me, have you ever trusted someone completely, only to realise they were never who you believed they were? You don't have to say a word more than yes. Just let me know you're here. And if you know someone who needs to hear this today, a friend, a sister, someone who's quietly going through something they can't explain yet, share this video with them. Sometimes the most powerful thing we can do for the people we love is say, you are not crazy and you are not alone. I read every single comment, every one. Now, let me tell you how this ended.
My attorney suggested we do this cleanly, strategically. No emotional ambush. So I invited my mother to lunch. A nice restaurant, the kind she liked. I told her I just wanted to catch up. She came in smiling, with that particular smile she wore when she thought she was loved and safe. I was already seated. My attorney was at the table with me. I watched the smile freeze. I said, "Sit down, Mum." We placed a binder in front of her. Every document, every transfer record,
The forged signature, enlarged, next to an example of my actual handwriting. The property deed in Florida. The wire transfer to her private account. All of it. She went very pale. Then she tried to pivot. She started with confusion. I don't understand what I'm looking at. Then she tried hurt. I can't believe you do this to me. Then she tried rage. After everything I've done for you. My attorney put a second document in front of her. The ultimatum. Sign over the remaining assets and the deed to her investment properties to cover what had been spent. Or face immediate felony charges for wire fraud, identity theft, and forgery. The thing about narcissism, and I know that word gets used loosely, but I've since done the reading, is that it holds up right until the moment consequences become real, undeniable, inescapable. My mother's facade didn't shatter dramatically. It just deflated, like watching air leave something that had always been hollow. She signed. Every page. I recovered the full value of my inheritance. The legal process took several months, but my attorney was thorough. I recouped what had been spent through the asset transfer and a structured agreement. No prison time, that was the deal, but a full financial accounting. 6 months later, I closed on a house. A small craftsman bungalow with a big back window that faces east. In the mornings, the light comes in and falls across the floor in a long stripe. I sit there with my coffee and I draw. I have not spoken to my mother since the day at the restaurant. I don't plan to. Some people ask if I'm sad about that. I think about it sometimes. And then I look at the light on my floor, in my house, bought with my grandmother's love for me, and I think, no, I'm free. The hardest thing about being betrayed by a parent isn't the thing they took. It's realizing they were never who you believed they were, and that you loved someone who didn't fully exist. But here's what I know now. The version of you that survives that truth is so much stronger than the one who needed the illusion. If this story found you today, you know why it found you. Take care of yourselves out there. Next time, I'll tell you about the woman whose brother framed her for his own crime, and the years it took her to untangle the lie. The psychology of sibling blame shifting is something no one prepares you for. You won't want to miss it.